Welcome into Point Blank, brought to you by Fitz Roofing. I'm Brandon Stranger, Sports Map Houston. That guy right there is Joel Blank of ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 show The Killer Bees, which you can catch noon to 3 weekdays. While you're watching us, hit subscribe on the channel, like this video, comment below so we can see what you're talking about. We do appreciate all the support you guys give us. Joel, welcome in. The ALCS worm has turned as of this taping. The Astros somehow were able to go grab 2 wins in Boston and get the series lead back. There's still a lot of baseball left to be played, but at least Boston fans and media are taking it well. Oh yeah, no, they're not. We all got to wake up this morning to some tinfoil hat wearing New Englanders accusing the Astros of cheating. Now let's put aside the fact that the game was literally stopped because of lights coming from the outfield while the Red Sox were at bat. Joel, why are we still talking about this? Why are we talking about this right now?
Because Boston fans are sore losers. Because Boston fans are like that kid on the playground that loses 3 out of 4, that loses best of 7, best of 10, and wants to keep making it best of 15 till they try and have a shot to get back in it. And they can't just admit that they've been outplayed. It happens. It's sports. The script doesn't always go the way it's written every step of the way. It's why we play the games. And sometimes the other team's just better than you, or sometimes the other team is just having one of those days. The Red Sox had 2 days in games 2 and 3 where they completely had it their way and had their day. The Astros fans and the Astros weren't saying, well, they're cheating. But now all of a sudden, because the Astros have taken a lead in the series and have come back, suddenly now Red Sox fans, instead of a tip of the cap and a nice job on your part, they're all going to sit there and point the finger that the Astros are cheating again. The fact that we keep forgetting that the manager of the Boston Red Sox is the same manager that was the bench coach for the Astros that got singled out for being one of the 2 catalysts for the entire cheating scandal in 17 is ludicrous to me. It's beyond me to think about a guy and an organization that had Apple Watches, that got reprimanded for cheating, that lost their manager for the same kind of things that the Astros went through, but yet it's all the Astros and nothing on the Red Sox. Come on, folks, turn the page, tip the cap and say congratulations for a team that just happened to play better than you.
Yeah, and you can't blame this just on fans either, because their media are the ones kind of stirring this up too. There's a popular radio show in Boston that's really stirring the pot with this as we speak. I want to get into more of the media's part in this and why the narrative continues to be pointed a specific direction. But before we do that, give us a word from Fitz Roofing.
We love the people at Fitz Roofing. They're dedicated to Houston. They're dedicated to doing the job better than anybody else. It's that simple. If you need a roof repair or a new roof on your business or your house, or you need some house repairs done or a fence in your yard, they can do all those things and more. Check them out at fitzroofing.com. But better yet, call them. 832-521-3001. You call them, you get a free no obligation inspection. They come to you, they tell you what they can do, and it's absolutely free. If you choose to use them, they'll come back, they'll do the job, and they'll do it better than anybody else. Best warranties, the best ratings, and the best products in the business. It's Fitz Roofing, making a difference one home at a time.
Okay, so I want to touch on what you just said there, because you talked about the hypocrisy that goes on because of Cora's part in sign stealing, not only in Houston, but in Boston. And like this narrative goes beyond just some clout chasing radio shows in New England. Even during the broadcasts, Buck and Smoltz, when they bring up the Red Sox manager being suspended for cheating, they always tie it back to the Astros of 2017, which technically is why he was suspended. Right. But that's not why he was fired. He was fired for his part in the 2018 Red Sox sign stealing, in which they were investigated by the league and punished. Now, they win their World Series in 2018. No one questions the validity of that World Series. And when Cora's time in Boston's mentioned, it's never mentioned that he took part, or at least his organization was found to be guilty of sign stealing in 2018. I understand why some jamokes who do a radio show in Boston would have their facts not straight. Why is it that MLB media, national media, Joe Buck, why are those guys also helping direct this narrative in a hypocritical way?
If I can make an educated guess, it's the same reason why guys that are blue check marked, qualified on Twitter, that follow Major League Baseball on a daily basis, that come out and point the fingers that there was more than just the Astros doing it from 17 on, and the next day they have to walk it all back. It's because MLB has their ladle in everybody's soup in everybody's kitchen. And so if MLB has something to do with the announcers calling Major League Baseball playoff games, and MLB has a narrative that they want, which is the Astros did it, they're the poster children and nobody else, then you better damn well follow the narrative that they're sending down, or they're going to have something to say to you, and you can either make the choice to have your job or not have your job. It just seems to be that cut and dried because of the fact that all along, every single time, from ex-players like Eric Kratz to writers and respected journalists, when they come out with a different story that says, not that the Astros didn't cheat, because let's be honest, we've said this over and over again, we always have to say it. They cheated in 17. It's a fact, but they weren't the only ones. Isn't it better to clean the whole thing up in one fall swoop and say, look, everybody was doing it. We decided to crack down on it. We're going to do it a different way, instead of saying, hey, let's make sure everybody blames Houston and let's keep everybody else clear. There's a letter somehow that some way that's escaped everybody's grasp lately too that needs to be open, just like the technology and the watches and everything else too, but that's Major League Baseball.
What's interesting is how does stealing signs also steal the other team's points? Because when they're lining up all these videos to show that there's whistling before major hits by the Astros, you can't really do that with Boston's at-bats because there weren't any major hits. So how does sign stealing suppress another team's offense?
Here's the other thing. Game 5 was a one-run ball game, and then a 3-run ball game until the very end. So you're just telling me that all of a sudden they flipped a switch and decided, oh, it's time to go. Just like Game 1, which the Astros were losing the entire game, and they were at home, as opposed to this last game where they were in Fenway, and you decided, oh, all of a sudden we're going to flip the switch because we need 2 home runs from Altuve and Correa, and we better give them to them now. It's not a video game. We're not sitting here playing PlayStation 5. It's real life baseball, and it's hard. The best players in the sport succeed 30% of the time when they're hitting. So everybody just needs to relax, step back, and appreciate the fact the Astros are a damn good baseball team. They have been for years. 17 is not something that they're trying to run from. They got punished for it. But since 17, the run that they've been on, the players that have been involved, and oh, by the way, there's only a handful left. The whole damn team, the whole lineup is doing what they're doing, and they've done it consistently without any kind of help. And then on top of that, what about the Astros pitching? Because their pitching staff has been depleted. They're supposed to be god-awful and terrible. They're using every hand that they can possibly get on deck. And you know what they're doing? They're succeeding. So tip your cap, give them an attaboy and a congratulations, and stop throwing a tantrum because your team isn't on top.